Don't tell him because he doesn't know when to clean and rub your feet that he's not a man. That's just silly. He's a man because he comes home. He's a man when he protects his family. He's a man when he takes responsibility for what goes on about other people's lives. That's what being a man is. You want all these little, trinkets and whatnot. That's not what manhood is. It's about the basics. It's about the solid, down-home things that you have to do. And he's showing up in here all man. All man. Don't be so afraid that you dark this guy away. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Ain't nothing you upset about that serious. Nothing.
In this episode, a woman decides to leave her partner and children behind to become a single parent. The conversation revolves around the reasons why women continue to lose their spouses, one woman's strong promise not to remarry if her partner dies, and the overall insanity that keeps relationships going. The episode begins with a video where a woman shares 5 ways women lose a good man, underestimating him, excusing what your activities mean for him, being narcissistic, and letting your ignored injury and weaknesses transform his life into a bad dream.
I feel like I've gotten to that point, guys. I was so hung on to this feminism thing, and I missed out on marriage and on children. And now, I'm at a point in my life where, I'm so bitter. I'm so jealous of people who have marriages because they are so happy and their husbands don't even cheat on them. And, men are just the best. Right now is when I'm realizing, I can't do without them. And right now, I'm I don't care, if you are rich or poor, tall, dark, handsome, ugly, I don't care, by the way. As long as you're a man and you're breathing, that's the only qualification I need, because I'm just so desperate for a husband. There's a lot of pressure around me, so if you can DM me and propose, I swear I'll behave and I'll...
Something that I've seen for a while now is how high the lesbian divorce rate is. I think it's something like 75% divorce rate. But why I'm laughing is because how are you guys going to pin this one on men? How are you going to blame men for this? Because it's 2 women. From what I'm reading online, what women say the reason for divorces in a same-sex marriage is domestic violence, cheating, feeling ignored, and get this one, feeling like one partner is not pulling their weight in the relationship, which is very interesting to me because you all preach, oh, men are like children, you have to take care of them, they don't pull their weight. But these are 2 women. So please tell me how you're going to pin this one on men.
The author agrees that current women have no appreciation for men in their lives, as they are constantly coddled with the untruth that they merit the world only for existing. A man could move heaven and earth, and it would slip by everyone's notice, except when she gets him an espresso or has a tantrum. Responsibility is also discussed, as women feel entitled only for appearing as women. They often refer to doing something kind for their man as mistreatment by the male-controlled society, as everything revolves around her happiness.
I was actually 45 when my daughter was born, not 40. I want to address some of the common criticisms that older moms sometimes get. First of all, women having babies in their 40s isn't a new thing. Childbearing years span decades, so why this is shocking to some people is beyond me. I know so many older moms, both now and also when I was growing up. One of the most common criticisms that I see online is that it's not fair to have children in your 40s because those children won't have as much time with you as they would if you had them when you were younger. The truth is, nobody knows how much time they have, but let's say for the sake of the argument that we all get the same number of years and we all expire on the same exact day. Does that mean that we owe it to the next generation to give birth to them as young as possible? Not everyone is ready or willing to have a baby in their teens or 20s. Even if you do feel ready, sometimes finding the right partner can take some time, and some people like to become financially stable or reach other goals first. It's also really common for people to experience infertility, or in my case, secondary infertility. I planned on having our last child in my 30s, but when I was in my 30s, I had miscarriages. The most carefully made plans can be completely out of our control, and it's mind-boggling to me that anyone could think a child has more or less right to exist based on the age of her mother. Another common concern is the increased risk of chromosomal abnormalities with advancing maternal age. The numbers vary a little bit according to the source, but a recent one that I read said that at age 30, a pregnant woman has a 0.1% chance of a baby with Down syndrome, and then by age 40, it increases to 1%. By the time I conceived my daughter at age 44, I had about a 2.5% chance of having a baby with Down syndrome. Conversely, I had a greater than 97% chance of having a baby with typical chromosomes who was perfectly healthy. More than half of people with Down syndrome were born to young moms, under 35. Lastly, the idea that older moms have less energy. I've had babies both in my 20s and in my 40s, and this hasn't been true for me. And I really believe that while there are genetic factors that are out of our control, our overall fitness and lifestyle choices have more to do with our mental and physical health than our age does. Those are my thoughts, but I'm happy to continue the conversation in the comments.
However, the reality is that she will bring all the Chad period into the relationship, and nothing you truly do will ever change because you are not a terrible kid. The episode concludes with a reminder that the grass isn't always greener on the other side of the equation. It's a wild ride, and the author encourages readers to stay focused on their goals and avoid these common mistakes. The text discusses the concept of the wall and how women often let their emotions destroy their rationale.
It doesn't matter how old you get. It never hurts less. So, we'll update. I've been talking to the guy since early May, over 2 months, and we had a few dates, and I thought it went really well. We have everything in common. He texts me all day, every day. Same shared values, same life goals, same interests, really good banter. And he told me that I was smart and funny, and he told me that I was beautiful, which is the first time it's ever happened in my whole life. And we went on a few dates, and then we were talking, and he just said he's really concerned that of my lack of physical activity, and I guess he's been trying to convince himself to find me attractive because I had such a good personality. And I told him that I didn't think that he should have to convince himself to find me attractive, and that I'm happy with my body, and it's okay if other people aren't. And it's really hard. I know it's the right thing, and I do believe that. It just is never easier. When you're dating and you're plus sized, it never really gets easier. And I'm sharing this because I, of course, turned to my girlfriends, but I forgot for a minute that they're all very beautiful and thin, and they've never had guys on the internet or just in life to their face tell them that they were ugly before. And so I know that there's a lot of other people like me on TikTok because I've seen a lot of you, and it's okay if it hurts. And you're not alone.
If you have that spiritual, emotional, and mental connection with somebody, what makes us human is to want to take it further and make it physical. At least that's how it is for me. I have lots of acquaintances, but I can count on one hand on how many friends I have, and they're all men. If I have a partner and she says, I'm going out to lunch with Rick, my coworker, no, you're not. Because that means she's either naive, willfully ignorant, or not telling me the truth. And it's my job to protect that relationship from that, because you're not allowed to have that sort of connection with somebody with the opposite sex unless it's me. Because again, to have that and to say, I don't want to make it physical is to deny being a human. It's what we are. It's what we do. That's why all my friends are men. I want a woman who, if I told her, hey, look, I'm going out to lunch with Becky from work, she's going to say, no, you're not. Like, this used to be common sense in relationships, but it's not anymore, as evidenced by this comment right here. And we can get so self-righteous to think, oh, I would never cheat. I'm above that. I'm so moral, such a good person. I would never cave into that temptation. You know, to thine own self be true. I'm a human being, and I know what human beings are capable of. Therefore, I don't put myself in that situation. It's wisdom.
It highlights a woman in her 30s who left her marriage for the sake of her children's well-being, believing she should have been happier and had dreams of a superior partner. This has led to her pursuing various relationships, causing her to lose hope and become childish. The text also mentions an example of a woman in her 30s who had 4 children, but chose not to stay with her marriage for the sake of her children's well-being. She has been able to manipulate her life by dating men and women, trying to stir things up around town, but ultimately finds that the grass isn't greener on the other side.
So these are things that I'm too old for as a woman in my 40s. Let's go. I am too old to have friends who I'm not 100% sure of. I used to keep friends around me because I knew them for a long time. We had history together. But a lot of times these friends, when I would tell them my good news, their mood would immediately change. They would get like angry at me. I realized after a while they were not my real friends. I am way too old to keep people around me who I do not 100% trust. I am way too old to be at a club. At 10 p.m., I am in bed. I've already applied my nightly skincare. I've taken my nightly supplements. I got my lavender diffuser on. I am not going to a club. Day brunches, dinners only. I am not throwing hands with you. I am way too old for that. I did that in my teens. But what I will do is I will sue you. I will take you to court and we will litigate. I will sue you, but I will not throw hands with you. I am too old to not love my own company. I take myself out to dinner. I take myself out to the spa. I love doing things by myself. And once I started really, truly loving doing things alone and being truly at peace with doing things by myself, I found that I never welcomed or allowed any toxic relationships in my life. And last, I am too old to fight for a man. I'm in a relationship now, but if I find out my man has somebody else, you could have him. I am not fighting for him. Adios.
So I'm over 40. In fact, I'm 50, and I met my current husband in my early 40s. We've been married 3 years. We dated for 5. He is a high value man and treats me like a queen. I want for nothing. Not saying this to show off. I've gotten a lot of questions and feedback about finding a partner once you hit the age of 40 and you're older. I have friends in their 60s who have met partners. I have friends in 40s and 50s. Just because you hit a certain age doesn't mean you can't meet a partner. You're going to attract what you believe you're worthy of, or you're going to attract and align with what you believe about yourself. So if you're telling yourself there's no men out there over 40, or no one wants to date someone over 40 or 50, that's what you're going to experience. I've never believed that about myself, ever. Not in my 20s, not in my 30s, not in my 40s, certainly not in my 50s. You have to see yourself as the prize, as someone who is attractive, who is magnetic. You have to pour into yourself and give yourself that love and see yourself as the woman, as the beautiful, attractive, confident, magnetic woman who attracts a partner at her level, whatever that version of you is. But you also have to become that ideal version of you. See yourself and believe you are that attractive, beautiful, magnetic woman that men find irresistible. You take care of yourself, you nurture yourself. Because when you know you're a high value woman, which I believe that I am, and I know that I am, I have high standards for myself, physically, mentally, emotionally, in every capacity. So it's not just about looks. Of course, looks matter. Men are visual. But it's also about what you believe about yourself and how you treat yourself. And because I first and foremost love myself at an energetic level, my standards are high. I take care of my physical health. I take care of my emotional health. I take care of myself professionally, career-wise. It's all a holistic approach. And I attracted a partner at that level. So do I believe if you're over 40 or 50 or 60, you can attract a partner at your level? 100%. I'm in Vegas right now with some friends. We're both 60 and 62. And she met her dream partner. We were talking about this last night. She manifested a man, 62 and she's 60, and they both look great, but at her level. And he treats her like a queen. So you're never too old for anything. If you believe you're too old, you're going to be too old. You're young, and you get to redefine your age, and you get to redefine how you feel. Don't let society or culture or other people, don't let them project their negative beliefs onto you.
The author emphasizes that men wed for affection, while women wed for life support. She acknowledges that she may be able to acknowledge her shortcomings when she sees the truth that she was the issue from the start. However, she acknowledges that admitting her shortcomings is essentially kryptonite, and that she will continue to blame herself when she's alone without you. In conclusion, the text highlights the importance of understanding the reality of women's emotions and the consequences of letting them down. It also highlights the importance of recognizing the cold and unforgiving nature of the wall and the deception that can arise from seeking happiness and fulfillment in relationships. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.